Welcome back, nerds around the globe, to the Global Nerds Podcast. How we globing today? Yeah, I didn't realize that literally everybody else, Darrell, Mark, Luke's, Ty, Yizzy, everybody has work today. We got responsibilities. We got an adult. We got to pay them bills. But yeah, I literally didn't realize that I was the only one available for the podcast today. So I'm going full Thanos and deciding. I just decided, fine, I'll do it myself. I hope this is a good idea. I've never run a podcast episode myself before, but I'm brave like that. I don't want to call myself a hero. That's Krispy. But yeah, what's up, everybody? My name is Crispy, and God, I miss saying that. Yo, how are we doing today? I hope y'all around the globe are doing really well. I hope we're all happy. I hope we're all getting along. I hope you're only. I hope no one's doing drugs. I hope and if you are, it's only the good ones on the weekends. I hope we're being responsible today. I hope we're being good people today. But so yeah, again, I've never done this before, so I hope this works out. So yeah, I've always tried to, we've actually gotten around to talking about some good stuff lately that's coming around in movies and shows. Yeah. Oh, Luke's might join in a bit. That guy's like one of the most charismatic people who's ever walked the earth. So I hope he can join us here today. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here. And I'm happy to talk about some good stuff with you. We got some news global, but first, I want to talk to y'all about some global goals because I started this new show a few weeks ago on Adult Swim. You've probably heard of it by now. It's called Common Side Effects. It's honestly like, and I know, I'm like way behind on a lot of shows right now. I haven't even started Dragon Ball Daima. I don't know how I haven't started Dragon Ball Daima yet. I mean, like, it's the last hurrah of the late great Akira Toriyama, man. Bro, I still can't process that that guy's gone. It's like finding out a mountain died or something like that. You never think that guy's gonna go. Same with Akira Toriyama. No, what I just said Akira Toriyama. I meant to say Gene Hackman. My bad. But bro, Gene Hackman, another great we lost recently. Just one of the greatest in filmmaking. Period. I'm looking up his filmography real quick. I think he was more than just an actor. Didn't he also direct? Yeah, like they found him, his wife, and his dog just gone. Um, yeah, I'm opening this up on such a bright note, aren't I? No, he did not direct, but as far as actors go, he was one of the best. I mean, like I'm always such a fan of those kinds of actors who they're very versatile. They got a range, but at the same time, there's like I don't know. There's just can I put his picture up? Bro, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but yeah, I always like those actors who they've got their own brand. They've got their own charisma and personality. Like they're a mix of personality and actor. Like you see them and you know it's them, and they bring something to the role that only they can bring. But at the same time, there's like versatility that not even a lot of the best character actors can mimic. And Gene Hackman was one of them. I mean, like you ever watch him and you compare how he did, for example, in The Replacements versus how he was as Lex Luthor, and he's still one of the best Lex Luthors. I know we're like in the same. Oh no, sorry about that. No, I thought I'm just glad I actually had to sneeze there. Don't you hate it when like you feel like you had to sneeze and nothing happens? Dude, that's the worst. But mm, even like when you've got so many other greats he's got to contend with as Lex Luthor, Clancy Brown, Michael Rosenbaum. I mean, like he was just like he had something the other Lex Luthors didn't really have, and he made the character his own. And I mean, like, he could do that with any character he played, but at the end of the day, it was still him, and it still had that sort of, humble, pragmatic charm, that, like, worldly everyman charisma that I think only he could really do. So yeah, that's one of the greats, and I'm missing him already. But oh man, look at me, I'm rambling here. I Well, again, if we want to talk about the greats, Akira Toriyama and his last hurrah as Dragon with Dragon Ball Daima, I still really, really, really need to watch that. I have not even started it because I'm catching up on so much other stuff. But one of the new shows I started, all caught up on this one. I know Luke's is watching this. I don't know about the others, but fucking Common Side Effects, bro. That show is like real. So it's basically, to fill you guys in, if you don't know already, it's made by the same people who did King of the Hill, who did it was King of the Hill they did. I think it was also, oh god, I'm blanking on it. Beavis and Butthead. Pretty much the same teams, and a lot of the same artists who worked on this show also worked on Scavenger's Reign, which, I mean, if you've been on this show, we all love Scavenger's Reign here. So, like, I mean, it's fucking amazing. And bro, it is mad dusty in this room. So the whole premise of Common Side Effects is there is a crazy magic mushroom that's been discovered. That's the cure all for everything. It's the solution to everything. It's basically the death cure, the Alzheimer's cure, and like it's the death cure, the Alzheimer's cure, and the cure to every sickness in the world all at once. And it's a thing of beauty that can change the world. But oh no, guess what? Hey, welcome to the chat. I see we got a few people in here. Feel free to drop some comments, and I love to talk to you guys. And I'm sure some of the others will probably be in here soon. I hope. So yeah, we're just waiting on them. Maybe, possibly, if. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think of Common Side Effects. Have you seen it? What do you think? But it's honestly the best show by far going on right now. And I've been watching Severance too, but nothing else beats this. I think what this show has that a lot of others don't, it's grounded in reality, but it's also like it taps into this energy that's really hard to tap into. It's over the top, it's cartoonish, feels very fantasy, but it also feels like something not too far off from what is happening in our world. Like, I mean, between the trust in our systems that could be doing anything behind our backs to keep everything in control, to what we don't know about the resources out there that could make life better for anyone and everyone. And I think what really makes this show special is the visuals, honestly, because if you go back to Beavis and Butthead, you remember the acid trip sequence that, like, everyone was talking about for such a long time. If you were around for the 80s or the 70s, whenever that show came out, I was born in 96. Okay, I'm a baby. But like, I remember whenever anybody brought up the Beavis and Butthead show, it was almost always the acid sequence came up in conversation. So yeah, it's basically, think every time they do the mushrooms, it's one of those things, but it's led up by this adorable little white pygmy who, like, comes out of the walls and the ceilings and the floors to basically tell you about the meaning of life in the way only a mute can. And again, like, basically this Klaus Schwab looking motherfucker from Big Pharma is signaling a manhunt after the hippie who discovered this mushroom and has been putting himself through hell, who has been on the run from the government. And every like just entity in the world to keep this thing safe. He's on the run with it's just him and his pet turtle and his friend the veterinarian who is super competent whenever he's on drugs, just keeping it all together. I mean, like I nothing I'm saying right now is doing this show justice, but the first 2 minutes alone are the best introduction to the show that I think I've seen in for anything in a very long time. Like it's basically they introduce Francis. But am I getting the characters' names right? Hang on. Marshall, my bad. So they introduce Marshall. They have him on the run with the mushroom, and then they introduce the two agents who they're sending to take this guy out. And the whole sequence is basically just the one guy is waiting in the van for his partner to get the hot dog, and he turns up the music in the car just loud enough so she can hear it outside the car window. And before she's even reached the other side of the crosswalk, she's like dancing to it in the middle of the street. And like it's and again, this is like Scavenger's Reign, pretty much the same animation as Scavenger's Reign, right? So like it's just very like they don't really move their facial expressions a lot, but like um it, they don't change their faces a lot, but they everything without even speaking a word of dialogue, they it tells you everything you need to know about the characters. And I can't really tell you anything about the show without giving spoilers, but honestly, it's really not nearly discussed enough. So, yo, check it out. Check it out if you haven't already. So that's what I got to say on common side effects. Honestly, I think I'm only going to talk about the others in detail if anybody else shows up here, but I got to tell the others about. Okay, if you want to see some good shit, Severance, obviously, that show's getting talked about a lot. Fired on Mars is one I discovered recently. I don't know if that show's going to continue. I swear to God, HBO. Okay, um, HBO just wants to cancel everything. HBO wants to Sudoku every animated show they've got on their roster. They're on a mission. I swear to fuck, they're on a mission. But the Monkey, you probably heard a lot about. It's a little on the short side, but it's one of the better movies we've gotten so far this year. Between that and Better Man, I swear to God, we're secretly in the year of the monkey, bro. I know we're in the year of the snake, but who knows? Maybe the snake's a monkey. You can't prove it, you can't disprove it either. But I think what's really a strength about the monkey is that it's a movie meant for twisted souls like me. It's and if you're a twisted soul like I am, who's into like dark horror comedy, you're in the zone, man. Like so, basically, it's a toy monkey, toy wind up monkey who you wind him up, he plays the drums, and every time he's done, someone somewhere by random happenstance just dies in the most over the top way possible, and they go crazy with it. And again, it's a little on the short side, but they what's a good example of just how they do the tone of this movie? The first kill in the film is basically a guy gets shot, a rat chews up a string that's holding back a bell. The bell falls onto a crossbow hooked up. No, it's a harpoon gun. My bad. A harpoon gun that goes straight through a shopkeeper's stomach, and then like as the harpoon comes out, there's a whole conga line of intestines that goes back and oh my god, sorry, tutoring client. I'm podcasting. Shut the fuck up. Like it just what the oh my god, I'm distracted now. Sorry guys. But it just has the most over the top it has like the most over the top kills and like literally a woman gets her head cut off at at a sushi restaurant accidentally by the chef, and and her head falls onto like the Korean barbecue like oven, whatever they call those things. I know there's a name, but I'm a fucking idiot, so I don't know. And like at the funeral, the priest giving the eulogy for her just walks up to the podium. He's like, "Oh fuck, I don't know what to say." I'm God damn it, where are the others? But watch that one. Watch them. So okay, so I'm gonna get into news now. I got more to say on news, but before I do, again, watch Common Side Effects, watch Fired on Mars, watch Severance, watch The Monkey, but definitely watch Fired on Mars because I don't think that show is gonna last long. Like I said with Scavenger's Reign, they're just on a mission to kill it, basically. They want it gone for whatever reason. HBO wants this show gone because they're a Warner Brothers subsidiary. And as we're going to be discussing in just a second, Warner Brothers fucking sucks, bro. So there's a lot of questions centering around Warner Brothers right now. You know, is DC dying? What is the state of comics? I think at least with DC Comics, it's dying because no one really does. Is it just me, or does no one really give a shit about comics anymore? Like these comic companies are focused on movies and shows and just like finding the most surefire way they can kill an audience's interest. Like they can't decide whether they want to get everything into the theaters or everything on streaming services. Like if you want the full story of one movie, you got to go on to Disney Plus and watch WandaVision or some shit. They keep doing that, and I guess what I'm trying to say is Warner Brothers sucks. That's all I really have to say about this is Warner Brothers sucks because I think what's the name of the company that gave us War for Mordor and no, my bad. Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Both of those games are fucking great, by the way. And we lost them because Warner Brothers is just on a mission to squeeze every penny they have out of every subsidiary they have just for profit, just to please the shareholders. I gotta look this up. What's the company that made Shadow of Mordor? Monolith Productions. They just reported that they are going to close the studio after it has made great games for them, after it was on its way to making a Wonder Woman game for them. When's the last time have we ever gotten a Wonder Woman game? I'm sure the others would know more about this than I do, but I don't think we ever got one. And granted, it's not as bad as like finishing the Batwoman film and shelving that when it's finished and ready to go. But that's another oopsie that Warner Brothers did. They are just in the practice of canceling every project that could make them money. Like they seem to be operating under the assumption that, hey, we shouldn't be making money. We should, what is it? What is it? We shouldn't do anything because, yeah, we won't be making much money, but we won't be losing any more money either. It's more this gutless modern media bullshit that Warner Brothers is just kind of a poster child for right now. And the thing is, I used to love Warner Brothers. In fact, like as far as like pure creative output goes, they're probably my favorite company behind Disney. But like just like Disney, they're just completely butchering everything they've got. They take out a company that was making their best work, basically, their best games. And I guess they're gonna invest in whatever company can turn out another Smash Bros. Ripoff because they're just so determined to not take risks that they are ready to just rip up anything they've got just to please the shareholders. And I think it started with who's their current CEO? Just a second here. Is that something that David Zaslav, man? It started with him. When did he take? Because like I think he took charge in 2006. I straight up have no. I think it was 2016. I think was when he took over. But ever since he took up shop, I swear to God, his main focus has just been, what's up, Toku? His main focus has just been squeezing out every penny of every subsidiary and destroying everything they've got just to please the shareholders. I mean, look what they did with Rooster Teeth back in the day. I mean, like I hear apparently Rooster Teeth's coming back, good for them. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on that. Warner Brothers sucks. I mean, they screwed over one of their best video game companies. They are just killing every adult animation series they have with bad marketing. I mean, Fired on Mars, I think what they did for it before they released it, I was looking this up. It came out like a year ago, I think, but the most amount of marketing they did for it was one tweet 2 or 3 days before the actual show came out. That was it. Nothing else. I'm telling you, man. It's like they just want. I don't know if they want their video games to fail. They definitely want their adult animations to fail because if you're like, I'm sure I speak for everybody here when I say this. I want adult animation to do better. I want more projects that are just that take adult animation to the next level, that take it into these smaller niche things that experiment with it, that push it into new territories. Because Fired on Mars is one thing that does that. I mean, they've got a main character who would be irritating in most other settings, but like they make you get where he's coming from. Like the whole idea is like we relocated to Mars, and Mars is run by this company that's sort of like, think a company run by King of the Hill characters at the scale of like Rapture from BioShock. That's the setup you've got on Fire to Mars. And the idea is when you work for this company, when you're on Mars, they're not just the company you work for. They're your provider, they're your government, they're the people you pay your rent to. And he gets fired from the company, which means that he not just fired, they start by firing him, which and he knows what it's going to mean. If they get to the bottom line of what they do with the people they terminate, he knows that he's screwed because again, he's not they don't really send people back to Earth when they're done with them. It's out of government, it's out of company budget. So he basically tries to make himself the new label guy, but he burns through the company's whole label supply in the process. And like when they call him on that, his fucking reaction is gold. Like he basically just says, "But haven't you heard of label theory?" Um, I wish I could play the footage for you guys, for everybody here. But eventually, what they tell him is that they're going to be taking away his home, and they're going to be putting him into a sleep tank for months, if not years. And if that sounds terrifying to you, they show everything that could go wrong with that, including like getting sick in the tank, like blood clots, like the tanks on top of like the claustrophobia, the tanks are just like they're built in the name of shortcuts, basically. So if you go in this tank, there's no guarantee that you're not screwed, and he knows that. So he tries to take fate into his own hands, but an injury he gets trying to get out of there affects him when they do put him in the tank, and he almost dies. And when he gets out, he's wheelchair bound. He can barely move. He can barely talk. And when he gets out, they're basically they're making him start over from scratch. They have him work for this intern. They have him intern for this guy who's just this complete control freak psychopath who is not in the mood to put up with any excuses or humanity at all. Just has him working himself to death. And I tell you more, but actually I haven't really finished that episode. But that's another thing. Like, you see what this company's done to the guy he's working for too. Every character, like even the worst of them, you get where they're coming from. And I think that's where a big part of the show's main strength comes from, is humanizing characters who wouldn't otherwise be all that sympathetic on this, like on in a story that's pretty small scale but is presented so visually, so cinematically. Everything they show you in the show feels epic, but at the same time it's but also presented in a small scale, very intimate kind of fear-based setting that you don't really see presented a lot. And I fucking hate it when shows like this go under the radar, man. I mean, you have everybody constantly saying that, and this is true, by the way. This is true. I agree with all of it. That big companies are destroying franchises, destroying IPs. It's happening with Lord of the Rings. It's happening with Star Wars. And yet, whenever people say that, I want the smaller stuff. Oh, I want something that's new and niche and original. When that thing comes out, they sleep on it. And when they hear about it, they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it. It's probably woke or some shit." Bro, if I ever hear the word woke again, if I never hear the word woke again, it'll still be too soon. I am so fucking sick of people just like unironically using that word to describe shit. Like, what kind of a fucking culture war poisoned killjoy are you, bro, to see everything you watch or read or fucking just consume through that lens? Like, can you let yourself enjoy something and you might actually be part of what keeps the new stuff alive? Because, the new needs friends, bro. No, if I'm not being too loud, I'm actually in a public library. Yeah, I don't know if I told you probably if you saw one of the last episodes, you know that there is a new game I'm playing. It's called Get Through the Podcast Without Pissing Off the Library Patrons. But I reserved a room, and I got how long I got? 38 minutes. Honestly, if I got nothing else, and if no one shows up, I'm just gonna dip early. But I see we got a new viewer. Welcome to the chat. Yo, Toki, you still here, dude? But man, if you want something good, Fire on Mars. It's probably too late to save that show by now, but save it if you can. But now that we're done talking about what a shite company Warner Brothers is, one shite company might be in a better state. It's kind of unclear what's happening right now. Disney, fucking Disney. Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilm, not in disgrace. They didn't fire her. There was no like internal coup, anything like that. She's just stepping off the boat. And I've never met her, obviously. I don't know if what kind of person she is. I'm sure she's a lovely person. I'm sure she's and she's done good production work for with Spielberg, with Lucas. She helped a lot with Indiana Jones, with E.T., some pretty big IPs, but yeah, no, she fucked Star Wars, bro. She really fucking fucked that brand. Imagine being in Lucas's position, having like just looking someone having someone look you in the eye, smile in your face, and lie to you. And that's pretty much what happened. It's what happened with him when I told you to go away, OBS. Sorry about that. And that's pretty much what happened with Lucas because they looked him in the eye and told him that they were going to be true to his vision, be true to the ideas that he had for the sequel trilogy, for Star Wars as a whole. They threw it in the trash. And granted, it's entirely possible that Lucas's ideas sucked. I mean, honestly, y'all, well, we might make a bigger episode on this sometime in the future, but if y'all looked at the original ideas he had for the sequel trilogy, it was better in Legends anyway. It was probably best that those ideas didn't see the light of day. But regardless, you don't treat people like that, bro. I don't care if it's business, you don't treat people like that. And I mean, Kathleen, not only did she lie to Lucas, she lied to the fans too. I mean, like whenever people tried to call her out on the problems the sequel trilogy was having, she would one of the things she always said was, I know I'm ranting here, but I'm on a roll. I'm not stopping. One of the things she'd always say was there was a lack of source material. What the fuck do you call Legends? You know, that expanded universe that you killed right as it was starting to mad surge in popularity? It's an ego and lust for power thing is what it is. I mean, she wanted to prove to the world, and I get the ambition, we all want to make our mark, but if you're gonna set out to prove that you can make stories that are right up there with the stories of the Titans, completely original, completely new, and then just resort to ripping off characters from Legends anyway, what's the point? You're ripping off that source material that you didn't have, ma'am. And honestly, it really surprises me that she wasn't let go a long time ago because she's basically a walking manual on how to make a $1 billion company. You take a $4 billion company and bring someone like her in. And it only took Disney billions of dollars in losses to realize that she was not good for Lucasfilm. God, it's so sad. It's so sad. But yeah, anyway, I still think she's gone. And by the way, I read the news. She said she's not retiring. She pulled a Wolf on Wall Street and said she's not leaving. She's just looking for a successor. So what she's probably thinking is like, damage sponge, but no one's gonna fall for that. I think that eventually, I still think it's gonna be early this year, late this year, early next year at the latest. I think she's going to end up retiring. Whatever the case, I still think she's on borrowed time at the company right now, which, I don't wish anything bad upon her, but she's proven that she's not good for the Star Wars brand. If you can't do the job, you gotta go. And but she's got so much cred in Hollywood, so much like I don't really know how it all works behind the scenes, but I don't work there, obviously. Maybe Darrell does. He's got a lot of Hollywood insider shit. That's why he's actually not here. He's in hiding. They're hunting him down. He's got the he's also got the common side effects shrooms that he's trying to hide from Big Pharma. He's pissed off a lot of dangerous people. So please pray for Darrell today, or just pray for him seriously. I mean, like, hey, let's just all pray for each other. In this dark time, why can't we all just love each other? What am I saying? Oh yeah, Star Wars. So yeah, I know she said she wasn't leaving, but I think her retiring is gonna be a next year early at the latest type deal. She's not much longer for this place. I make it sound like she's dying. No, she's not much longer for Lucasfilm. The question is, can Star Wars be saved? Where do they go without her? Who do they get to replace her as the creative head of the Lucasfilm family? I think the damage is already done. I'm saying this from a pretty intimate POV because I teach kids for a living. I'm a tutor, and so many of these kids I teach who are into Ninjago and like Fortnite are into some pretty mainstream pop culture stuff. Most of them don't give a fuck about Star Wars. Most of them do not give a fuck about the galaxy far, far away. The damage is done. It's done. I think like a lot of what has happened is beyond repair. And if you're gonna fix Star Wars more than you got to get rid of more than just Kennedy. Like there has to be, they got to go. And I really hope I don't get us demonetized for this, but here we go. They got to go full Joseph Stalin on the motherfucker, right? Like well, I'm talking a full on Lucasfilm purge because there were probably executives there who enabled Kennedy's ideas, encouraged them. Hell, for all we know, they probably pushed her into doing these things. Like they probably pushed their ideas out into the open and used Kennedy as a damage sponge. I mean, that shit happens all the time in companies. So like, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done before Lucasfilm is really free to go in a better direction. But who's going to replace her? That's the big discussion right now. I know Dave Filoni's been name dropped in there. I know Kevin Feige's been dropped in there. Apparently, Kevin Feige's leaving Marvel. I've heard about that. What's this about? Yeah, what is this about Kevin Feige leaving Marvel that I've heard? I'm looking it up here because apparently, YouTube's broken and other sites are broken on my laptop. It's rebelling. Yeah, it looks like Kevin Feige might be leaving Marvel. Which that sucks because I mean, like I know the MCU is in a bad state right now, but I was at least under the impression that there was some course correction that was going to go down there. And give Feige credit. He can tell that there needs to be course correction. That's more than what Kennedy's do. That's more than what Kennedy ever did. She just showed up on the red carpet every day with that big smile on her face, just acting like, "Hey, everything's." She's literally the dog in the burning house. Like, don't worry, everything's fine. That's her, straight up. But honestly, my theory is that he's probably gunning for the big seat. He wants to replace Bob Iger. That's my conspiracy theory. Okay, I'm just gonna get this off my chest. I know we're talking Star Wars. I know I'm mad ADD today. I get it. This is my first time running a solo podcast. Give me credit, and guess what? I'm gonna do it again. So we're stuck together on this island. Spalding floated off to sea. I had I had to cannibalize my island mate. We're doing our best. We're doing our best with what we can here. Okay. I think I'm getting the hang of this. But yeah, my theory is that the Russos are going to take over because, and again, credit to Feige, he brought the Russos back for Avengers Doomsday. So again, course correction. And I think that if anybody would be a good pick to take charge of Marvel in his absence, it'd be the Russo brothers because a lot of what they've done, Captain America Winter Soldier, which is still the closest thing we're probably ever going to get to a Metal Gear Solid movie, you look at that. You look at Infinity War, Endgame, the best shit the MCU did. A lot of it came from the Russo brothers. So yeah, I think they'd be a great pick. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about that more in a sec. But I want to stay focused on Lucasfilm. So going back to, I don't know if Feige really gets Star Wars. I mean, and that's kind of like the same issue Ryan Johnson had. Ryan Johnson is a competent director, but he doesn't understand Star Wars. And that's not a point against him. You can't realistically expect everyone to understand Star Wars. It's okay. It just means you're not exactly the guy for the job. Could Filoni do it? I think he probably could. Honestly, like with how Ahsoka went, especially toward the end, I had some pause, but yeah, that's one thing. Everybody's like, look at Ahsoka. He ruined Ahsoka. He ruined The Mandalorian season 3. Filoni has lost his touch. Lock him up in Azkaban. Bro, he's always struggled with his early seasons, man. Remember Clone Wars? Season one and season two of Clone Wars. Everyone hated that. Like to this day, people still say skip seasons one and two, just start with season three, which I didn't think seasons one and two were that bad. But my point is, he historically struggles with the earlier seasons. This is nothing new, and I think Ahsoka's got enough good things going for it, um, enough pots being filled, enough cookies being baked, enough trees growing in the oasis, enough hands in pockets and bank jars, and enough nair being rubbed over legs to make something happen, you know? I think that Filoni can still make something good out of Ahsoka, and I think he'd be a good pick to at least have a high ranking creative position at Star Wars. But I think the best way to handle that, if you're going to bring him to that position, have him be the right hand guy to Favreau. Because, yeah, season three of The Mandalorian sucked major venereal disease dick. But see, we got some new viewers. I hope y'all walked in on that line. I'm iconic. What can I say? How y'all doing? Feel free to jump in the chat. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this. For those of you just joining, we're just talking about Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm. But yeah, I think that what should happen at Lucasfilm ideally is Favreau takes charge with Filoni as his right hand guy, because I think people forget that Filoni struggles with the early seasons. He should be given a chance there. But one thing that people forget about Filoni too, and this is a fatal flaw of his, he's not really a creative leader. He's a guy you want at the oar. He's not a guy you want at the mast. Because even with Clone Wars, he had Lucas as his creative consultant and his mentor. He was surrounded by Cartoon Network level writers. He was he was far from alone when he did that. So I think that's what needs to happen if Favreau's gonna take charge. He should no Filoni, my bad. If Filoni's gonna take charge, he should have that team with him. And I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, Lucas would come back, but um, yeah, this is one of those areas where we sort of brought the Star Wars situation on ourselves. Lucas is on record saying, "Why would I want to come back to Star Wars when the last time I was part of it, people compared me to Satan?" You know, he's 80. He's been away from the IP for decades. He's refused every fan saying he should go back to it. He ain't coming back, bro. He's done. He's moved on. And and again, 80. He does not want to spend the time he has left. If you were in his position, would you rather spend the time you have left with an IP that dragged you through the mud for such a long time, or with your loving family? I'd pick the second one. I hope Lucas is living it up right now. I hope he's just chilling. But yeah, Favreau's just one guy I think would be a decent candidate. I think, and I'm going off on a limb when I'm saying this. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I think Sam Witwer would be great. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys know about the history of this, but Sam Witwer, when he was recording for real fucking Star Wars fan I am, what's the name of the episode where they meet the son, the daughter? When they go to Mortis. It was, yeah, it was the Mortis trilogy, basically. There's like Altar of Mortis, then there's Altar of Mortis, Ghosts of Mortis. I can't remember the name of the third episode, but like this really fascinating, really fascinating trend. Why did I say trend? I can't talk. There's this really fascinating bit, like when Anakin hallucinates seeing Shmi again, he tells her about Padme, and he's like, "Bro, like, Mom, you gotta meet her. You gotta meet her." And Sam actually like stopped everything after they were done recording. He's like, "We got to do that scene again." And Filoni's like, "Why? We got everything." And Sam's like, "But Shmi did meet Padme. They met each other in Phantom Menace. They were straight up at a dinner table together." And Favreau, just like the that iconic cowboy hat he wears, he's just like Whitwer saved them a whole lot of trouble with that. And like I mean, anybody who's met him at a con knows this. Like, it's so fascinating hearing him talk about Star Wars in interviews, at conventions. I mean, like, he knows this lore like the back of his hand. I mean, he straight up like recited the Sith code by memory when he came in to record for Darth Maul for the first time. And like he just he'd be a good guy for the job. I don't know how he is as a creative director, but if you're looking for a guy who knows the lore, who understands what the fans want, because I mean, like if you're running a business, you got to know what the customers want. If you bring him in a creative prospect, I think yeah, I think he'd be great. The question is, can he lead a company? If he can do that, then he fits the bill. There's one other guy I think would be great for the position, and I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head, but he was the original visionary for what was supposed to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy. So yeah, fun fact, the Kenobi series that sucked so hard, it was originally supposed to be a movie trilogy, but Stuart Beatty, Stuart Beatty, that's his name. So he had an Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy in the works that got scrapped because Kennedy took one look at it and she just said that movies don't work. People don't want to go to theaters. That's why The Rise of Skywalker failed. That's totally why The Rise of Skywalker failed. Not because the movie sucked or anything like that. God, oh my God. I know I'm being mean to Kathleen right now, but she fucked it up, man. She fucked it up. I hope no one hears that. There are kids in this library. But yeah, I think Stuart Beatty would be a great creative director because if you go back, I let me know in the chat. Anybody who's got thoughts on this in the chat, please like drop them in. I want to hear what y'all have to say. Did any of you guys read the initial concept for the Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy? It's it's fucking gold. It's gold. I mean, like Obi-Wan, it's pretty much the same plot, much more time given to it, much more love, much more meaningful beats. Obi-Wan, instead of making the journey that he makes alone, he actually runs into Rex again. And they've got a bit of a beef with each other because, Rex lost pretty much his life was ruined because of the Clone War, because of the Republic betraying him. And even though Rex didn't really have a choice in the matter, he and the clones betrayed the Jedi. Order 66. Obi-Wan's still salty about that. Rex is still salty about the Republic using him and then leaving him to rot as a homeless drifter. And it's basically this sort of buddy, this cop buddy trilogy that they would go on together. I know Screen Rant made a very good article about this. I used to write for them actually. Pay was garbage, so I stopped. Maybe I should reach out to them again. Like there would have been some early behind the scenes sort of like Obi-Wan would have pulled some moves to start Luke's training a little on the early side. Like I mean, there wouldn't have been it wouldn't have broken continuity, but he would have like planted some seeds for Luke to start becoming the Jedi, which I think that would have been so fucking fascinating to see. I think part of what makes Obi-Wan work as a character is that he's a chess master, that he's a very patient strategist who gets how to pull the levers with the people he's dealing with. That's why he was always called the negotiator during the Clone Wars, because he had that patience, because he understood the people he was dealing with. It's much better than just having him fail to do his one fucking job and let his force powers rot and then just get them back and somehow manage to beat Darth Vader. And I know that's like proto Vader. He's only been Vader for like 3 years, so like that makes a little bit of sense for him to lose. But bro, even at that point, you don't just lose to Obi-Wan. Vader does not lose to Obi-Wan like that. Okay, I'm ranting, but anyway, back to my point. If you look at Stuart Beatty and his plans for what Obi-Wan Kenobi was going to be, you know he was the man for the job. But yeah, I think Kennedy's leaving. I know she said she's not going to, but she's out of there. Do I have anything left to say about Kevin Feige leaving Marvel? Not really, no. I don't know if he is leaving Marvel. I think it's a rumor. Let me look this up real quick. Why am I frozen? I'm looking at my own face on my phone and I'm freaking He is retiring, but it won't be until after the X-Men reboot. I wonder where he's going to go from there. I still think he's gunning to replace Iger. Honestly, Iger's got a lot of the blame in where these companies went to because, hey, I mean, like, if you're a CEO, what happens with the company is your fault. If you didn't do it, then you hired the guy who did it, or you hired the guy who hired the guy who did it. Your fault. Your fault. You're the captain of the ship, bro. And apparently, like he worked really closely with Kathleen Kennedy too. So like he's definitely got a share of the blame for at the very least what's been going on with Star Wars and Lucasfilm. Apparently, there's some new Power Rangers stuff too. That's what is happening. Guys, yo, chat, am I frozen? Let me know, chat. Oh, I see there's some new Power Rangers toys that are either getting glazed or hated on because apparently we can't just let mid be mid anymore. I still haven't seen Goes Yuger. I really hope I'm not butchering that pronunciation. Jordan from Unworthy Productions posted about that a bit, and from the looks of it, it looks like everything Cosmic Fury should have been. Because, yeah, that was Cosmic Fury. You end the whole franchise, the whole series, that whole run before the reboot on a season that is the definition of mid. Great job. Great job, Hasbro. They just it's your fucking flagship franchise and you don't give a fuck about it. I mean, I know that their whole job at the end of the day is to sell toys, but come on, man. Oh my god. It's like y'all have seen me pretend to know shit about Power Rangers whenever it comes up on the podcast, and now I got to do that on my own. Wish me luck, guys. I'm running life on hard mode right now. Okay, I'm looking at some of these. I'm gonna hold it up to the. I hope you guys can see this. Each of these toys could be held in your pinky, and yet they're selling them separately. There's nothing new. They're doing what they've always done and just going back to breakable Mighty Morphin member berries too, because they don't want to play around with the other IPs for some reason. But it's funny, I actually went to Florida. I can't believe I've had this figure on my desk for such a long time now, and I haven't shown it to you guys. I got the Yellow Ranger from RPM. What's her name again? Uh, RIP Toytron. Summer M. Lansdowne. Yeah, I got a summer figure that I haven't shown you guys yet. I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that soon because yeah, I finally got my hands on one. I've been meaning to maybe send one. Oh, send. I got two of them. One of them is for my buddy for Mark, who you guys know one here. By the way, go check out Heirloom's content if you haven't already. He's definitely the most active. He's probably the most active of us when it comes to making Power Rangers content. And yeah, as you guys know, I kind of fell off the Power Rangers bandwagon for a while back there, but he's been following it closely along with Sentai, along with Ghost Duger, which again looks so fucking good. I mean, like, I the clip Jordan showed me was basically a Zord, a Megazord, um, a Power Rangers mecha. I don't know what they call the different ones, but yeah, like one of them is standing on the corpses of others, which means there was a mass fucking mecha battle that for some reason we did not get in Cosmic Fury. Why didn't we get it in Cosmic Fury? It was a simple fix, bro. I'm still with you guys. I'm just sending a reminder to a student of mine to study for a test today. I'm actually gonna have to get off here in 9 minutes. I only reserved the room till 3 o'clock EST. But yeah, definitely watch Common Side Effects if y'all haven't already. It's the most slept on show right now. No one's discussing it. Mad underrated. But yeah, like, have you guys seen like the state of it all right now? This just the state of Power Rangers. They're just we've talked about it to death before on the podcast, but the more I look at it, the more I actually pay attention to what the others say, to what like all of my friends who follow Power Rangers way more closely than I have been following it in a very long time. Like the shit they show me with these easily breakable looking toys. It looks like you could flick one of their heads off. They look so delicate. These lame freaking figures, all for what? For what? I mean, like this is supposed to be Hasbro's like flagship franchise, and they don't even care about it. They don't care enough about it to take any risks outside of just taking it back to member berries too, apparently, because apparently Mighty Morphin, that like that Hallmark-esque, like, okay, all right, I'm gonna be mean. Mighty Morphin's a stupid season. It's stupid. I know people love it, but it's just stupid, bro. That's part of its charm, but it's stupid. And it got to such higher heights when they brought it around to the Disney era. Why don't you bring it back to the Disney era, bro? I mean, I guess that's part of the challenge. You've got like it's multi-generational. You've got different generations of Power Rangers fans who prefer different things. That's a hard market. I get it, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not a business savant. Maybe there's reasons they can't go all in on like trying to diversify all of it, but why not diversify the IP? I mean, I saw an RPM figure and I'm like, bet I'm getting it. And like you look anywhere and you see people saying they would love more of the Disney era of Power Rangers. So do it. So make it, bro. It's such an easy fix. It's probably not. But yeah, the point is Power Rangers has no direction right now, and you compare it to other franchises like Star Wars, which I think it can come back. It's got some major fixing to do, but not only do I think it can come back, but if they capitalize on what they can do with the video games and the animation, I think they can bring it into an unprecedented golden age because that's where Star Wars I think has arguably always been at its best is with the animation and the video games. You want to tap into the full potential of what that IP can do. Those are the mediums you go for. And with like another one, like you compare it Power Rangers with Star Wars, and you compare it with Bionicle too. I mean, Bionicle's gonna come back one day. It's gonna come back. Gen 3 Bionicle is a matter of when, not if. Because Lego's sitting on an IP gold mine with that franchise. They know it. They have to. They're a smart company, but they don't know what to do with it because the last time they tried to bring it back, they lost money and they had to cancel it. But you see all the time like Cryo Shell teaming up with Essinger for the theme for the Bionicle Massive Power game. You see the voice actor who voiced Taraga Vakama come back for a fan made Bionicle trailer. I mean, that kind of energy eventually brought Gargoyles back, and yeah, we're only getting Gargoyles in comic format right now, but that's a start. With Power Rangers, there's none of that. There's none of that momentum. There's none of that hype. I mean, pretty much all like so many of the fan projects right now. I mean, like with Star Wars, you've at least got the lightsaber choreography competition. Star Wars Theory is making his own sort of he's making his own twist on that with Nick Gillard, the sword master and stunt coordinator of the prequel trilogy, as a judge. There's at least momentum in a certain direction with certain parts of the fandom and the company with franchises like Bionicle and Star Wars. Power Rangers has none of that. And I don't think, and it hurts me to say this because I know I have a lot of friends who love the fuck out of Power Rangers even more than I do by far. I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. I don't. It sucks to say that, but I don't. Anyway, back to common side effects, because I really want to say some last words on common side effects. I think I'm getting the hang of this whole podcast on my own thing. I'm taking over. I'm taking over. This is my show now. Darrell, Mark, Ty, Roosh, Yizzy, y'all are out of here. It's mine. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Like I was saying before, though, adult animation, just Adult Swim, like type content in general, has so many places it could go. And now that we're on the more optimistic side, now that we're talking where the directions IPs can go if they want to save themselves, a medium like adult animation can save itself if a show like Common Side Effects gets more attention. I mean, this show is fucking saving Adult Swim right now. It's saving it between the story, the art, the animation. I mean, Adult Swim in general is the one thing keeping Cartoon Network alive right now. And they're actually dropping it on Adult Swim instead of just making it Max exclusive. I mean, you got to fire on all cylinders when you're marketing, man. Don't just appeal to one demographic. Go for all of them. If you got fans and consumers in multiple demographics, fucking go for it. Power Rangers should capitalize on all of the seasons that still have momentum behind them. Not just Mighty Morphin. Go for Dino Thunder. Go for RPM. What other seasons are still talked about? Fucking Zeo. In Space. Maybe not Turbo because Turbo fucking sucks, but honestly, It's okay. Now I finally did it. I finally found the words I was looking for. So basically, imagine Luigi Mangione, a more pacifistic Luigi Mangione on the run from Big Pharma with magic shrooms, and that's what you get with common side effects. Did I sell it to you? Did I dazzle you? I gotta talk about this show with the others when we all get on together. But anyway, it is 3 o'clock p.m. My reservation for this room is overdue. I gotta bounce. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. This is fun. First time for everything. I'm gonna get better at this as I go along, man. But in the meantime, catch y'all nerds later around the globe. Take it easy.